Hello again. We're getting a lot of videos this week, but the thing is we're getting a lot of boxes in this week. Remember my last Nolzur's video where I said the order had been split in half? Well, the other half came. So we're going to do a quick video. And by quick, I mean I'm not editing it. I'm not adding any music. I'm just going to show you the minis. Any thoughts that pop in my head, as useless or good as they may be. And you get to see them. Yay! So, now that you know that, decide if you want to watch or not. Now, when I initially got this box, I didn't really pay attention to the address. I assumed it was my second shipment of these. So, that'll be another video coming up. Those didn't come today. They should be here anytime now. All right. And that was a really nice deal because I got 28 of these. Or is it 24? I'll have to check. Anyway, for right at like $29 with shipping. So yeah, pretty sweet. Pretty sweet. Even though some of them aren't necessarily the best. Now, I did get a request. And we might do a video on it if I find time. Someone wants me to turn this into an Iron Cobra. Now, I may or may not do that because I do have a bunch of metal Cobra minis. I got some at Game Castle from some Japanese game, which its name escapes me. I might use that because, one, it's more detailed, and two, it's already metal. So, it's not already painted. Okay, which will save me a step. But an Iron Cobra does sound cool. Okay, moving on though. WizKids does not have an Iron Cobra Mini available unpainted yet, to my knowledge. But they do have, wait for it, Signs and Lights. Signs and Lights, the miniature pack. So here we go, minis galore for you to enjoy. Looks like there's a little post here, and then you're going to put all these bulletin boards on there. So when your party's looking for their latest and greatest, oh, look at that. You can put lights on this. So this is versatile. These can go on your walls or on this post. And, you know, if you bought enough of these, you could actually use this as a perfectly reasonable dungeon or model lights. So pretty cool, pretty versatile, a lot of stuff here. Not sure if it's exactly a nice purchase considering, you know, how often are you going to use this. But I will say, and I pointed this out, you could cut these out and use them as paper versions. So you're actually getting two lights if you don't mind doing that. So, for what it's worth. All right, moving right along. Now, Atomic Empire sent these. I only have one grievance with them. One thing they do that bothers me, and that is they put so many packing peanuts in this box. I just spent like 20 minutes pulling the packing peanuts out of this box. Which, you know, I shouldn't complain about, but man, they'd save a lot of money on packing peanuts if they would calm that stuff down. Human Rogue. This is the Nolzur, so they're not going to tell us the gender for some reason. The Deep Cuts does. So, now, here's the back. So this is what they're going to look like when we get all done with it. Painting it. If you want to use this, you know, renders now this is not in scale. Unlike those posts and stuff, this is pretty out of whack. But, you know, if you wanted a really tall female rogue, that could be it. The miniature itself, though, is fine. As you can see, And that's the neat thing. If I wanted to actually point this out. These Magic the Gathering tokens are perfectly in scale with Nolzur's. You see it right there with that zombie. Okay, see that? That's fine. Now, let me show you. I just primed a Reaper miniature the other day. Actually, that was last night, wasn't it? Where are you at, Reaper? Oh, there you are. Okay. Check this out. I mean, it's okay, but there's definitely a scale difference here. Check that out. Nolzur's is definitely a lot smaller than Reaper. And like someone said, they're true 25 versus a 28 heroic. And on the table, it's hardly noticeable, but I actually have debates with people online about this stuff because when you change, there was a Kickstarter, I'm not going to get into it. There was a Kickstarter, they changed the scale and said it was a bonus to go from 32 to 35 millimeter. And I was, as you can probably understand, pretty miffed about that. Anyway, campfire and sitting log. This is cool. This is pretty cool. I don't know about the sitting log, but the log could be used as just a log in the woods. But the spigot with the pig and, all this cooking, the accoutrements, these are really cool. You could really set an encounter up with this, or this could be used by the party, something they stow away in their wagon. Not hard to paint. Now, I offer my players, and also, by the way, you could cut these out and use them. Anyway, I always offer my players experience points for painting stuff. And this is the kind of stuff they can actually manage. Even a novice can paint this stuff. Not that I'm not a novice. I just got into this a couple years ago, but anyone can paint a log. Yeah, and it's good practice for them. Here is Nolzur's Marvelous Succubus and Incubus. Sucking and inking all over the place. And you could use the backs of this as, yeah, let's check that out. The Incubus is a little on the big side. The Succubus is a little less so, but they're demons. So, so you really, all these boxes, if you're willing to do it, you're getting essentially two sets of minis. You're getting the mini you bought, and you're getting these backers, which you can cut out and put on styrofoam or pennies. I've seen several different ways to mount them. Anyway, I'm going to quit going on and on about that. We kind of got the point with that video I did. Okay. Here is a half-elf monk. The half-elf monk. And it's a male, which they don't mention, of course. We've covered that ad nauseum. All right, kinkus. You can never have too many kinkus, right? When in doubt, kinku it out. All right, some more dressing. Remember that movie Willow? This is your hanging cage with Matt Mardigan. No, it's not Matt Mardigan, but it is somebody who's had the misfortune to get on the wrong side of the law. And there you go. There it is. Old man McBigglesworth hanging in the cage. Does the party save him or not? Is it really a man in a cage, or is it some sort of fae being testing your goodness? All right. animals are, I've always said this, great. One horse and a hitch is okay. They go together. Pretty specific if you ask me, but I don't mind having one. I don't mind. Do you? Okay. So there's our horse and our hitch. Pretty cool. All right. Now, here's an elf cleric. You can never have enough elf clerics, right? And this one's clearly female, but Nolzur isn't going to tell us that. Here's our renders on the back. Pretty cool. All right. Now this one I debated on because I already got these with the wagon. I'm still debating on it because for $4 I'm getting 4 little dinky bed rolls that no one's probably ever going to use, but they can't all be home runs, guys. All right. Now this is an interesting thing. The Goliath. So I have a whole bunch of miniatures from World of Warcraft that are out of scale. And they could be converted to Furbolgs and Goliaths. But the completionist in me said, why not? Why not get this female Goliath barbarian? Just for funsies. Why not? It's official. It's D&D. Could be fun. Ooh. Now this is a bit out of place, I think. But I love it. It's a guillotine with a basket for the head. And the reason it's out of place is because, high fantasy world, we're talking medieval. And the guillotine wasn't around in medieval times. It was actually invented as a way to humanely execute people. It kind of defeated the purposes of a more medieval society. They actually reveled in torturing others in a way that, we probably wouldn't understand. It was seen as some sort of divine justice, God's way of getting back at the sinners. I don't know. I can't read everybody's mind from back then, but boy, they sure loved to torture some folks. And they came up with some very interesting ways to do that. Very sadistic before the Marquis de la Sade was even a thing. Okay. Iron Golem. It's cool. It's cool. It's a cool golem. It looks exactly like the one from the Monster Menagerie 2, just about. Which you can get pretty cheap unpainted. I guess people didn't like that model. Some of these you can get cheaper unpainted than you can, or get cheaper painted than unpainted, or really close to the same price. Mayor and Town Crier. Now I wonder if these came in that big giant townsfolk pack I bought, because that would be just hilarious. Yeah, why not have? I almost want to say it does. I almost want to say it definitely does. All right. Here's a human warlock with tentacles. And this is probably the coolest thing I've seen in a while. This looks like something I could use for Call of Cthulhu. Yeah. Yeah. Human warlock. Female with, tentacles. I like it. I like it. Anyway, a witch, a warlock. Why don't they call them witches? I don't... warlock for males, witches for females. I mean, are we that informal? I like the model, though. I do. That's a stunner. That's going to be real nice to paint. The grung. The grung. I mean, I got these with the, the Dungeon of the Mad Mage. But more grung are cool. Definitely the tropical bullywug, right? Gotta love it. Gotta love a good tropical bullywug. When I'm bullying my wug, that's what I want. Okay. The male half-orc druid. Let's look at that. This one, I like the translucent. It's fine. It's, I know deep cuts. Now, if you look at this boggles my mind. Look at this. Actually, it irks me a bit. Here's an half-orc barbarian from phase 1. Do you see what I see? Scale creep. Which I'm fine with because I thought this guy was small. It's always been my main problem with this mini. I like the sculpt. The sculpt is fine. Nothing wrong with that sculpt. It painted up fine. But it is tiny. And when the other heroes in my party, because this was actually a player character, were using Reaper minis, this guy did not... he was like Wolverine. He was like a little sawed-off dude, which is fine. It was cool. Player enjoyed that mini, though. The sculpt, again, is good. The size... Look at the size difference. We've creeped up. That's good that they fixed that because that was a... I mean, it didn't bother the player. They barely noticed. I mean, they did mention it, but... he's like, oh, I'm a little sawed off, dude. All right, here's some more guards. I believe these were in the Townsfolk pack as well. Maybe not both of them, but probably both of them. But you know what? I've always said this. You can never have too many Towns guards, even if your basement's full of Towns guards. All right. Yes. The human warlock. Now, boy, that looks like something out of He-Man, don't it? Hi, Evelyn! Come to my castle, have you, on Snake Mountain? Yeah, it's Skeletor before he was Skeletor. I forget what they called him. Anyway, pretty cool. Pretty cool. I like it. I like it. I don't know if I'll be able to, do them justice, but they are pretty sweet minis. Pretty sweet. It's kind of funny they did the other warlocks before they did the humans. Kind of mind-boggling, really, if you think about it. Now, these were some dragons that I wasn't sure if I was going to get because I already have these Reaper ones. Okay. Now, these are whips, so don't judge me too harshly, but to be honest with you, this one I just kind of wipe my brush on. Sometimes I clean my brush on other minis, which I've pointed out before. But so I've got all these from Bones 3 or 2, whatever it was. And they never made a white one, but I have the metal white dragon. So I literally already have this stuff. But these are a fair bit, if you look at the scale. As a matter of fact, these are both blues. So... this is it's great that I grabbed this. I mean, you encounter 2 blue dragons, wormlings. Because blue dragons are kind of, they're not complete and total jerks like some of the other dragons. Even though they are evil, they're lawful evil, and they'll actually help a brother out. Especially other dragons. Okay. Here we go. Male elf rogue. Now, even the elves are getting taller. Huh. Interesting. Sculpts are fine. Hey, I can live with it. These things getting bigger. But boy, those are some tall elves. And maybe not. maybe I'm just imagining things, but it seems like those are pretty tall. Let's grab this pirate and see. I am just imagining things. It's not too bad. They're fine. Maybe it's just the sculpt on the bottom because he looks like he's hunched over and he's about as tall as the one on the top. A little bit going on there, but it's not bad. Okay. I like the half orcs are bigger. I like that. Okay. Enough okaying. Now, if you look at these red dragon wormlings and the blue dragon wormling, if you really looked at them, something I didn't mention is they have a little treasure hoard. Yeah. Little treasure hoards are fun. Yeah. Cute little treasure. Aw. That's sweet. That's your red dragon wormling with if you notice, it's got a little fire coming out. Let's look at the render here. Yeah, a little fire coming out its mouth. I like it. I ordered these, many months ago. So it's pretty cool to finally see them. All right. This is a bone golem. Now, this is, again, deep cuts. Back in old school D&D days, there was this was introduced, this golem, as I recall, in the Ravenloft set. Okay, so pretty sweet to have a Ravenloft set. I mean, to have this model, because they're actually pretty horrifying. They also introduced the blood golem, I believe. Which, yeah, I mean, just think about it. A blood golem. Pretty nasty. All right, necromancers from Deep Cuts. So if you're playing a necromancer, which, why would you? But say you did. Here it is. I mean, these are your stereotypical necromancers. And they've got a male and female. So rather than, the same model twice in two different poses, same character though, we've got two different characters. So that's a change. Right? Yeah, definitely. Pretty cool sculpts too. I like it. I like it. I like where they're going with that. If you do a class, do one of each gender. Is it gender or sex? What are we going with these days? I never know. It's hard to keep track. Goliath Barbarian. So, in essence, again, you've got a 40 millimeter miniature scale human or a Goliath. So keep that in mind if you're looking for, if you wanted to populate a village of Goliath, you could easily do that by getting miniatures that are out of scale. Okay. Which normally you don't want to do, but in this case, that would be a good thing. All right. Man, we got a lot of minis to cover, so this video might be long, guys. Sorry. Sorry about your luck. Piles of wood. When I think about miniatures, guys, I gotta be honest with you. The first thing that comes to my mind, firewood. Yep, lumber. This is just firewood. This is the stuff that dreams are made of. Role-playing wet dreams about wet wood. Man, that went in a dark place. Have you guys ever started a campfire with wet wood? Accelerants are needed. It's not pretty. It's not pretty. Wet wood is bad. All right. Now, sometimes when I see something that I think, because I learned via the Beholder, I bought 3 Beholders because I just had a feeling that would be a good idea. And it turned out to be a really good idea because have you guys even seen a Beholder in the last 2 years since they came out? Yeah, good luck getting one for under 20 bucks. Anyway, I saw the Strider. Okay. And yeah, there you go. There's our drider. And I bought 3 of these because, let's face it, folks, if Wizards of the Coast, there we go. If Wizards of the Coast owns the rights to it, you ain't going to see it. I bought 3 gelatinous cubes. Turns out they didn't end up being scarce, even though I thought they might be, because it's a pretty sweet little package. But let's compare this drider to the old Hasbro drider real quick. Just to give you an idea of how awesome this new one is in comparison. I mean, for once I can actually say that old Hasbro Mini is inferior. Typically, I mean, don't get me wrong, these Hasbro Minis, you can throw them around and never break. I've seen people run them over in video. But that drider right there, that's nice. That's a pretty cool little sculpt. Now, I do have, if I dug for it, I could find it, a demon from the old Hasbro line that looks like a drider. Hey, popped right up. Good. Okay. So, just to give you a little comparison, this is a rare or ultra rare, I can't remember which. It's had 1 or 2 stars on it. Let me look here. Okay, so here is one that's comparable in size from the old Hasbro line. Dregloth Abomination. Okay, 1 star, so it's just a rare. Now, compare these two. Okay, now the Dregloth is bigger, but not as much bigger as you would expect. I mean, and compare that to that other Hasbro drider. You really get an idea of what we're getting here. This is a pretty cool mini. Gonna be fun to paint. So put that back in the packaging. Yeah, sorry about the delay, guys. All right, boy, I went off on a tangent there, didn't I? You know, it's so hard to stay on course, isn't it, when you get into minis? Yeah. So here's the other 2, in case you thought I was joshing you. Yeah. Boy, the table is just filling with minis. Yeah. All right. Check it out, friends. This looks a lot like the one from the Temple of Elemental Evil, the board game, which would have been Monster Menagerie 1, I think. Don't quote me on that, though. This is a large earth elemental, not to be confused with the Deep Cuts mediums. And yeah, it's a nice little model. Here, let's compare it to Reaper. It's a large elemental. It's actually, I can't believe I'm seeing this. Do you see this? It's actually, I mean, it's not as heavy, I don't think. Well, I mean, I'm feeling them in my arms. I can tell you it's not as heavy. But it is. And this one obviously weighs more. But look at that. And you got to realize this one costs, I caught him on sale, I think, for like $7. This is $3.99. Which sculpt do we like better? It's not a game I like to play. Both of these are fine sculpts. Honestly, this one, but I mean, for your money, that's pretty sweet. Yeah, I gotta say, they're up in their game, man. They're up in their game. So we'll put him back. It's almost like I planned that. I didn't. All right. Human Paladin. And this one is a female. And I can tell you right now, it looks like mold line hell on this model. Human Paladin female. They won't tell you that. Pretty sweet sculpts, though. I like it. I like the translucent. I'm a sucker for translucent weapons. Here, look at this guy, for example. If you see, you can see right through that blade. It's still translucent. There we go. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Anyway, I had to paint this up because our PCs are actually... well, this is somebody they've encountered. So they've actually made a deal. One of them works for the Seafreet Noble. So there's that. Sometimes PCs make very bad decisions, guys. All right. The Black Dragon Wormling. Oh, look at that. It's got a corpse or something instead of a horde. Well, we can do a direct Reaper versus Nolzur's comparison here. Here's the Swamp Dragon, I believe they call it, from Reaper. And I gotta say, the Nolzur's model is certainly more impressive. Both, I'm sure, have their place. This one seems a bit younger than this one is all. But they could be, enemies in the same swamp. Maybe this one's a little smarter than this one and hires the party to hunt this one down or something. I mean, there's a lot of potential there. A lot of people play dragons as, just they don't really play them right. I don't think they just their hit points and a goal. Whereas these things live a long time. They should be thinking on their toes. Unless the events going on make that not possible. They should run away. They can be recurring villains, or in this case, that scenario, allies. Anyway, the Fountain. Now that I gotta say, that's art, guys. I like it. That's art. It's a pretty sweet little fountain. I mean, this kind of accoutrement for your